if we would have known how much work it was going to be, maybe we wouldn't have done it. But we, you know, there were several people that did a whole lot. And Terry was one of them. She worked her butt off. But we worked with, you know, Ben the Arc Jewish Action Champaign-Urbana was the the main host, and we got partners from the local NAACP, the local League of Women Voters. Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, the alumni chapter, when we all vote, and actually the person who there was one person who volunteered from there, and she was awesome. None of us knew her before then, but we're going to know her now. She's also helped with the local League of Women Voters and stuff, and local league was one of our partners.
Well, how did you connect with all those people, with all those groups? How did you go about doing that? How did you find them? How did you know they were interested?
We tend to spread things around, asking for groups to, first of all, some of the groups, like Diane Orr, our chair, and Stacy Gloss, our co-chair, had been working with the League of Women Voters, NAACP, and Delta Sigma Theta already with some voting rights forums, and so she asked them during that. I posted things all around Facebook, and then Kanitha, the person from When We All Vote, she was the one who approached me and said, "Hey, I've seen this up, and I'm just wondering if I can help." And it turns out she was from When We All Vote, and then we asked the mayors to speak, and when we asked them to speak, we asked, does the city of Urbana or the city of Champaign want to be our partners? And the city of Urbana said yes. The city of Champaign didn't say anything for a really long time. So, but yes, so different partners who got different ways. There was somebody from First Followers was one of our partners, the local chapter, and it was because he came to one of our meetings because Stacy Gloss and I were the at-large organizers, and Stacy asked him for a different reason, but because he was with First Followers and he would connected that way. He said that they would partner, and somebody who was with the local Moms Demand Action showed up and said, they can partner. So that's how we got some of our partners. So it's like, it depends, the progressive community in Champaign-Urbana is not huge, but it's not small. And we have a tendency, even if we don't know everybody, we know people who know people. So it just kind of worked out that way. Anyway, for that part, I don't know if Terry has anything to add for that part, and then I can go on and tell you about what we did.
Yeah, my internet connection went out in part of what you were saying. I think one of the most important contributors to our success in getting people to participate in the votercade, getting it advertised, getting it out, was this one person, Kanitha Faye, who has a background in marketing and is a whiz at using Canva, program called Canva, to make really fabulous graphics. And I don't know if Marcy said, because I was going in and out, she volunteers for When We All Vote, which is a college student organization, but also for the League of Women Voters. And as from one or two of them, she and I ended up working together often late at night. And she really created those fabulous graphics that some of you have seen. What I did was write a whole mess of press releases. And there was one day trying to get the first press release out. I thought I'd get it out by 10 o'clock. And just as I would hit the send button, I would get a call from Marcy saying, hold it, we've got some other person that's supporting us. I'll rewrite the whole thing. Get ready to send it. 3 times. I finally got it out at noon, but
so I'm hearing two really important things so far. One, collaborate with as many groups as you can,
Yes.
even though it makes you rewrite press releases.
Yeah.
And two, lots of press releases. Yes. Okay.
And great graphics. Really,
And graphics.
Yeah.
I've always said, I do publications all the time. If it's a choice between my words and a photograph, cut my words, keep the photograph. So, I could have sent out, press releases out the wazoo, but without those fabulous graphics that Kanitha Faye created for us, I don't think we would have gotten half the people we got. So, it's just a combined effort. We were really lucky to be introduced to her.
Yeah. And she basically, she PM'd me. She said, hey, I saw your thing. And as Terry said, it's a student organization that she's affiliated with, but she's not a student. She was actually the business manager for one of the private dorms in town. And so she was working full time and doing this full time. And, it's like, and it's like, wow. I mean, we count our lucky stars that she was there. But hey,
how did you get both mayors?
Well, I'll tell you what. Some of us know both mayors. It's not that, and the mayor of Urbana is a Democrat. The mayor of Champaign is a Republican, very moderate Republican. And Rose is going to share some pictures. Anyway, but yes, and one of the first pictures are the mayors. They're both female. They both collaborate a lot. When because the cities are they're tight. I mean, I would bet that I would bet that Bloomington Normal is like this also. The cities are the cities do a lot of collaborative stuff, and these mayors seem to be friends and whatever. So anyway, but so yes, good things we did right. Those were some of the things we did right. Some of the things we did. That is the most dumpy picture of me, believe it or not. The picture with the one in the yellow hat, that's me, but it's a really dumpy picture.
I like it, Marcy. I like the yellow hat. Go.
It's so embarrassing, that picture, because it's like, with my coat tied on. Anyway, so that has nothing to do with it. Anyway, so that was some of the things we did right. Some of the things we did wrong were things like, we decided where we were going to, where the starting point was and where the ending point was. And we actually had two votercades, one going south and one going north, because we wanted to hit as much of the population as possible. But
can I just interrupt you 1 second, Marcy? I just want to point out that thanks to Kanitha, our graphics designer and marketer, who has a kid in Urbana High School. The three kids in the middle, they're from Urbana High School. The two on the end are U of I students, because we really wanted to get the youth in there. And she managed to do it for us. I just, as long as that photo was up, Marcy, I wanted to say.
Sure, yes.
Okay,
oh, yes.
Marcy's starting to talk about things that didn't go quite so well, but this is huge.
Yes,
As you all know, getting young people involved is really a challenge. And boy, here, look at this picture. This is amazing. All right, now we'll let you tell us some of the things you weren't that pleased with.
Yeah, anyway, so actually, and that's in downtown Urbana, where they were walking with, that was through downtown Urbana, and that was at the end. That was at the end of the votercades. Well, okay, so we had a starting point and ending point. And the starting point, it didn't matter. It was a parking lot for a shopping center that a lot of businesses have moved out of. So it wasn't that big a deal. This is the ending point, but the starting point you saw when when I was the dumpy me picture. so that was the starting point, and that was we didn't worry about because we weren't going to have, and we were just having people decorate their cars and leaving. We didn't, and it was pretty much half of the shopping center is empty, and it's a huge parking lot. We didn't worry about it, but the back end, we were at a parking lot of, this is in downtown Urbana. Yeah, that's the League of Women Voters table, as Terry just put on. Anyway, and they were doing voters registration. But anyway, the back end was there's a mall like a very old mall in downtown Urbana that in the old days before there really were malls. And this is the parking lot there, and it's used for a lot of things. It's used for a farmer's market on Saturday mornings and whatever. And we decided we were going to have the end there. And we just decided to do it before we decided to get permission for it. So I mean, so we were kind of holding our breath, it's like, thank goodness, one of the people that we worked with, Jeannie or Jay Covert, she worked with the parking lot part of it is owned by the city of Urbana, and part of it is owned by the guy who owns the mall. And actually, another group that I'm in, Jeannie and I are organizers for it together. It's called Champaign-Urbana Progressives, and before COVID, we used to have what we call progressive drop-ins, where we'd have also, say, hey, for lunch, anyone who wants to, or for dinner, anyone who wants to, come and meet us here and whatever. And some were in downtown Urbana, and she had to call the guy who owned the mall to say, is it okay if we do this? And so she had a rapport with him already. And so she called the city of Urbana, and she called the guy, but it's like we were holding our breath for like days before we could really do anything, because we told everybody, we told people already that we were going to have the celebration village at Lincoln Square Mall parking lot, but we really didn't get permission. So that was one thing that was an issue. Another thing that was an issue is just an FYI, if you have people that are going to ask people to speak, and even though, okay, one person was asking one of the speakers to speak, and I guess we didn't realize she didn't know all the details. And so one of the speakers didn't realize it was supposed to be not totally nonpartisan. So, so I had to have a talk with him the day before, and he wasn't really happy about it. So the other thing to remember is, I mean, it worked out. But the other thing to remember is, anyone who is going to ask speakers to speak, make sure they know all the rules first. So you guys can learn from our mistakes.
Those are very, very important things to be hearing. That's exactly what I wanted you to share, because when you're doing an event like this, there's so much to think about. And I see Jessica from Metro East, she just did an event last Saturday too. Hey, Jessica. There's so much to think about. And if you've done something before, you've got your checklist and you can say, blah, 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 I've done this. But if you've never done it before, would you think about getting the permits? Would you think about checking in with the speakers and so forth? So really, really helpful. Anything else you wanted to tell us about how Saturday went? These pictures are wonderful. And then these are the pictures of okay. Can we, Jessica, we're going to jump to Carrie in just a couple minutes, but Jessica, we have your pictures right here. I'm putting you on the spot here. Would you be willing to tell us just a little bit about the Metro East event too, since Rose has your pictures right here?
Sure. We had last Saturday, we were really surprised, had a great turnout. We actually secured for years, everybody's been looking for the St. Clair County League of Women Voters, and we found them, and they showed up. All 4 or 5 of them. So now we've got contacts with the League of Women Voters here in our county, and we're ecstatic. We had our first Swansea trustee, who's actually our very first Black board and government elected in our township here, in Swansea. And so that was fantastic.
So
he showed up.
Swansea County chair?
No, he's a Swansea trustee, but
okay.
Our community and our neighborhood is very diverse, like 50% Black, but he's the very first Black elected trustee in Swansea. And so we made history this last municipal elections, and they showed up. So we just had an outpouring of love. It was a great event, and we're excited to carry the message of, the John Lewis voting rights and everything else onto Juneteenth. And we're participating in Juneteenth in East St. Louis as well. So it's just exciting times now. We're getting back back into the groove of it.
That
So,
is
thank
great.
you.
And it looks like a wonderful event, Jessica. So thank you
It was
so
a lot
much.
of fun. Thank you.
Now, did you guys have a motorcade also, or did you stay in one place?
We stayed in one place because it was 54 degrees and it was threatening like storms and rain. So honestly, when we had 16 people show up, we were like, woo! It was great. And the rain held off until it was cleanup time. So best day ever.
Okay, we have to add this to Marcy and Terry's list and your list too. Control the weather. No, you can never do that. We have our group has a big event on Saturday, and if the weather goes, everybody be praying for some good weather for us on Saturday. Okay, wonderful. Anything else, either Jessica or Marcy and Terry, about last Saturday's event?
Well, I'll tell you, we have done, with Bend the Arc, we have done events before, but we've never done, and even though we've gotten way more people at some of our events that we've had, we've never done one that was so, collaborative and, included, was so inclusive of anybody who wanted to come. I mean, Terry was talking about the press releases she did. I mean, we did like, there were a couple of us that did radio interviews and I think Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, we had more press come out for this than we've ever had. And we've done many things, and we've done things that have had, have attracted more people, but not one that would be of a more diverse, of more diverse people in our area.
And one of the things that's going on right now is that we're at this very odd place in the election cycle, because we don't know what congressional district we're going to be in. We don't know who our candidates are going to be. So the activism now is around issues, and those issues like HR 4 really should be bipartisan. So how great is that you were able to reach out and get these other groups, and now, lots of good things for both of you will come. Both of your groups will come from this. Wonderful. Great report from Central Illinois, and a little snippet there from a little surprise I pulled in, Jessica, for Southern. And
I just wanted to mention one thing.
Yeah.
The head of the local chapter of the NAACP, Minnie Pearson, gave a real stem-winder of a speech, but she said something at the end of it that we all ought to keep in mind when we're going out trying to push these voting rights bills, that, it's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. When states start trying to suppress the vote, they're suppressing everybody's vote, not just the Democratic vote, not just Republican vote, not just the black and brown vote, but everybody's vote. And that really got a rise out of people in our audience. And I think that's a message that we need to hammer home whenever we're talking about S1, which is up right now, or HR 4, whenever it comes around. It's a suppression of everybody's vote.
Thank you for that, Terry. I can really imagine some great truth sandwiches from the Truth Brigade with that in there. All right, I want to go on and go to Carrie, who is going to talk a little bit about some things that she wanted to share about her neck of the woods. So Carrie, can you come off mute? And
there you go.
There she is. Hey, good to see you.
Good. Good evening, everybody. I've been a little under the weather today, so if I look kind of pale and not quite together, I apologize.
Actually, I think you look absolutely lovely. So
thank you. I managed to finally crawl out of bed around 4 o'clock today. So.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. Oh, but anyhow, Jessica filled you in on some of the things that Indivisible Metro East is doing, and they're doing such an amazing job. Really good stuff. I wanted to also share that we've been involved with Sierra Club to try to push CEJA across the finish line. And I've been phone banking a lot and attending a lot of meetings to try to
remind everybody about CEJA. I know we've talked about that.
CEJA is the Clean Energy Jobs Act, and it most closely patterns the Green New Deal. It's very similar to a lot of Elizabeth Warren's proposals, as well as Bernie Sanders' proposals that would directly impact Illinois. And it's north, south, east, west. It's not just a specific region of Illinois, it's the entire state. And there's a lot of controversy regarding CEJA right now because we have Ameren, who is, oh, good. Donna did a lot too. Good. Ameren has a different proposal, which is really anathema to Clean Energy Jobs Act. And there are actually 5 different proposals that are up. It did get out of the House successfully, so it's coming up for a vote by the end of May. So there's been a huge push. Sierra Club actually went over in conjunction with several other groups today to protest in front of the Ameren headquarters in St. Louis. I was unable to go because I just wasn't well enough. But I think they had about 100 and 150 people going from all different parts of Illinois. They were busing down to East St. Louis and going across the river. So that's pretty cool. Yes, there are witness slips you can put in for CEJA, Terry, that there are. And I can send that to you. I can send you that link.
Yeah, can you send me the information and the bill numbers and I'll put it in our newsletter.
Okay.
We have pretty active witness slippers on
Good.
our billing list.
Good.
Witness
Yeah.
slippers. I love it.
Witness
Okay.
slippers. Okay. So
All right. And then you
that is-
also, okay,
that's a
good.
big thing going on. Then there are 2 other things that are currently in the works. Jessica mentioned one of them, and that's Juneteenth, which will be held at East St. Louis, which is a really huge minority area in St. Clair County. And they are very strongly Democratic. They're a Democratic stronghold for us. Tons of different groups are going to be participating in Juneteenth. It's a collaborative event, and I'm going to be involved representing the Biden-Harris administration. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How,
Yeah.
That's cool. So this
Yeah.
is actually on Juneteenth. It's
Yes.
not in prep. Okay.
And
Great.
it is not in preparation for it. It is the actual Juneteenth event.
Okay.
But the goal and the mission of the Juneteenth event is not just to celebrate Juneteenth this year. It's really as a launch pad to start to get political programs and policies forward in Illinois that are environmental justice, social justice, jobs, economy, broadband. Everything that's in the Biden administration plan is exactly what they really want this to be, a launch. So that's pretty exciting. We've reached out to our new DNC chair, Robin Kelly, to see if she would participate, also Governor Pritzker. So we're hoping it'll be a pretty big gig. They're also collaborating on a motorcade with St. Louis. So there's going to be some across the bridge.
Across the bridge, across that Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
a cool march across the bridge would be.
Well, I think they're going to drive.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a pretty big event. And I know Indivisible, Metro East is involved, Sierra Club's involved, Legal Women Voters is involved. I mean, there's just tons of groups that are collaborating. Moms Against, for Common Sense Gun Control, they're involved. I mean, lots of different groups are really getting involved in this. So that's
So there's our theme for tonight.
Yeah.
The more groups you can get together, getting these actions going, it just benefits everyone.
Absolutely. And Jessica just put in the
and
chat that
she's
Indivisible, the co-host, Sierra Club.
Yay, Jessica. Yeah.
A couple other groups are co-hosting. They're pulling in a lot of money, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going. The other thing I want to mention is through my Elizabeth Warren connections, I was able to get a few people who were willing to help me phone bank for a rural area in Western Pennsylvania for someone who's running for a state position, state legislature. And she's going up against a QAnon person. So it's in a very, very
a special election.
Pardon me?
Is that a special
election? Yes. And so wrangled in a couple old Elizabeth Warren people, and we've been calling on behalf of Mariah Fisher in this rural district in Western Pennsylvania, and we're really hoping that
Yeah.
she's going to win. It's looking good.
Great.
So that's not Illinois, but you know,
Yeah,
wherever
that's
we
okay.
can get seats, it doesn't
Everything we
matter.
do helps. We don't have to just stick with Illinois. And then you wanted to talk about the Mike Boost.
Yeah, this was very upsetting to me. I participate in the Mike Boss town halls, not because I really want to call or ask him a question, because he's absolutely useless. But I go on his phone only town hall so I can actually hear what the man is telling constituents. And if people don't know what the Illinois 12th looks like, it goes from Alton all the way down to Carbondale over to Mount Vernon. It is a huge district, and a lot of it's rural. So I take copious notes when Mike Bost is speaking, because if his lips are moving, he's lying. And it's indicative of what the marching orders are to the Republicans coming out of the US House as well as the Senate to bring the message back home. So I wanted to share with you 12 specific things that he is saying, because if Mike Bost is saying this, he doesn't have a unique independent thought in his head. All of this is Republican talking points. Truly, Marcy, you're laughing, but it's the truth.
Oh, I'm in
He doesn't
Adam
have an original
Kinzinger's
idea.
district.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
So I just want to
12
read
things. We're
I
ready.
just want to read some of these, because these are going to be heard probably by rural people in all of Illinois. So number one, Mike Bost started out by saying that the Republicans really want to be bipartisan, but we want to work together with the Democrats, but the Biden-Harris administration is not doing this at all. These are direct quotes. I took notes. Instead, they are trying to push through a socialist agenda without any input from Republicans. Now, you know, Biden had people at the White House from the Republican leadership of the House and the Senate. And Biden has had an open door policy for anybody to bring a Republic, but this is what he's saying to his constituents. Number two, I will be bringing in federal funding to connect the Metro East to Jackson County. Jackson County is down in the Carbondale area. He is not doing this. This has been on the books and in the plans forever. This has nothing to do with the Mike Bost initiative. So he's lying about that. Number three, I'm working hard to protect the people of Southern Illinois from the Biden-Harris administration and the Democrats. Trust me, they want to have everything free everything. I have to listen to them from across the aisle, and all they want is to give away. So then he started taking callers, and a caller said, well, if they're going to give away all this free stuff, how are they going to pay for this? You know, the screeners pick these people. So he answers, the Biden plan is to increase taxes on Main Street's businesses in Southern Illinois. These are the job creators for Southern Illinois. We know this isn't true. And on all the hardworking Americans, just like we have on the farms in Southern Illinois. Well, that's just a total bunch of freaking lies. I was furious when I heard that. So then another caller called in. He said, so what's going on with these gas prices? Gas prices are really high. And here's what Boss said. He said, well, you know, the Keystone Pipeline, as soon as Biden got into office, he cut down the Keystone Pipeline. It has hurt all the unions, and it's going to continue to hurt gas prices here in Southern Illinois. Add to that the cybersecurity break under the Biden administration, and we are really seeing high fuel prices. Because of all of this and the Democrats, we won't be able to compete on the worldwide market. Total lies. All right, I go on.
But people, how many people really know where the Keystone Pipeline was supposed to go? That it wasn't going to benefit. I mean,
Right.
people, the general public just doesn't know that kind of thing. So
And so
they're assuming stupidity and ignorance,
Yeah.
right?
And he
Yeah.
spoon feeds them the talking points lies from the
Okay.
Republicans. So then a caller asked, Biden says the border is closed. but it's not. Thousands of illegal people are crossing the border every day. Can't you tell the Democrats and the administration to close the border? And Bost answers, it's a crisis. It's just a full-blown crisis. People are flooding over the border. For example, there were 34,000 people in March of 2020 under the Trump administration. Compare that to March 2021, 172,331 illegals crossed the border just in March of this year. They're dropping babies off just right over the border. Can you believe that one? Because
Dropping
Biden,
babies off?
that's what he said. I wrote this stuff down. They are dropping
Sure.
babies off right over the border because Biden has
It would be
opened
funny,
up
but
the
people
floodgates.
believe it. Yeah.
Kamala Harris hasn't even gone down to the border, and she's supposed to be in charge. They're letting all the drugs and the human trafficking come across into our country. All right, the next caller asked, what's the Democrats have all insane programs and policies. What are you Republicans doing? And he said, well, we have so many plans and policies, but we can't get our message out because the media is blocking us. It's why I am giving this town hall, so you'll hear it directly from me. You'll hear the truth from me. So then he goes on to say, the Democrats want free everything. Republicans want infrastructure, but no increases in taxes. The Democrats want to tax all the hardworking Americans and drive businesses overseas. You'll see, jobs will go and it's going to kill the economy. Biden and Harris want to re-implement the death tax. This is not even remotely true. So then he said, you won't be able to pass down your farm to your children or your grandchildren. It'll go to the government. Next thing he said, Democrats want mob rule. They are promulgating hate. Their hate is so strong. They're violating the Constitution with their policies. They just call us names on social media, and this does nothing at all. They're dividing us and using fear mongering. You know, where was he in the last 4 years of Trump? It's just unbelievable. And finally,
talk about mob rule. Let's see. Did January 6th happen?
No, you know, no kidding. I mean, and this is just
Rose says, did he miss January 6th?
It just goes on and on and on and on. And finally, there was a guy. This is just a small snippet. I listened for the whole hour and took notes. Finally, some guy came on who is a longtime union guy out of Granite City, which used to be blue. The treasurer was talking about this, and it's kind of going a little bit red. He said he just recently left the Democratic Party because of all the lies and hatred and the fact that they want to increase our taxes. And we're hardworking union people. And they're just, you know, this is the message that's going out to rural Americans.
Yeah. And we know how those messages are going out. We know that those messages are going out from Fox News and other media sources. And we know that it's going out. Oh, yes, I saw this. January 6th was just a bunch of tourists taking pictures, according to the GOP. Oh my God.
And they're going after these poor patriots across the country. You know, harassing them. Who said that? Bossart or somebody? I forget.
It's astonishing. It's really astonishing.
This is what we're up against, though.
Exactly.
So if we are going to try to reach out to these individuals in rural Illinois, somehow or another, we have got to understand what the counter message is. What are the words coming out of the mouths of the people that are here who are Republicans representing us in Congress? So we know exactly what they're saying. So we can start to develop truth sandwiches with their words.
Exactly.
Thank
you, Marcy. We couldn't have planned this better because she's segueing right back into my presentation about Northern Illinois. So
that's it. We've got our backs up against the wall, and this is war.
Yeah, the frustration is that we're not debating issues, whether an issue should, you know, is this the correct route to take, or is this the correct route to take? It's truth versus lies, and that's all it is. Someone in our, actually, Judy Dixon of Dixon, Illinois today posted a picture of, there's some people around town now with their big signs, Trump 2024, on the backs of their trucks, driving around town. And we were trying to decide what sticker we could stick on those when we see them in parking lots. And her idea is truth trumps Trump. Just get a sticker that says truth trumps Trump and stick them on their signs, but then we'll get shot. Okay, so wonderful. Thank you all so much, Marcy from Central Illinois, and Jessica and Carrie from Southern Illinois. We got a really nice, Southern Illinois does not get enough attention, I don't think. And it's wonderful tonight that we've had both of you here to really give us the scope of what's going on. I don't feel that what we've been doing has nearly the energy or impact, but I'll tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. In Northern Illinois, we're feeling very much, as everyone is, that we're kind of at a loss. Our group has been so focused on working for candidates, and we've had some really great congressional candidates running against Adam Kinzinger in 18 and in 20. Well, we've lost that because who knows what Adam Kinzinger is doing. I mean, he is a big question mark now. He's either running against Tammy Duckworth, or he's running against J.B. Pritzker, or he's forming a new planet and is going to go live there. I don't know. But so we've put so much of our focus and energy in working against Adam, and now that's, you know, it's like the floor has slipped out from under us. And then to add fuel to the fire, many of our members live in Sherry Bustos district, and we have had our fingers crossed all over the place that we would end up in the 17th and have Sherry Bustos as our congressperson. And now she has decided that she is not going to run. And the Republican who ran against her in 20 and came very close, Sherry had a very tight race, not as tight as Lauren Underwood, but a very tight race. She is running again, and she is a super Trumper and just a horrible person. And we had this, you know, very approachable Sherry Bustos, who was, yes, pretty middle of the road. Sometimes we wished she would be more progressive, but very approachable and generally a good, honest congressperson, and represented the farmers in her area. We thought, well, so we've been at a loss. So we've taken the time to do some studying. And one of the things, Carrie helped us with this, we did a unit on agribusiness, and we learned a lot about that. We've done several studies, but right now what we've been working on is really writing those truth sandwiches, because we're feeling that we've just got to get the word out on social media about all of these issues that Carrie just brought to us from Mike's town hall. We've got to counter those somehow. And our thing has always been writing tons of letters to the editor. We have great letters to the editor writers. But our newspaper has gone regional, and that happened with COVID. And they're not printing letters to the editor, and a lot of people have ended their subscriptions because the news is so regional, not local. So now we've got to change that focus too, and thank heavens for the Truth Brigade teaching us, giving us that background and that structure for us to pick up. So we've been working on writing those truth sandwiches, and you've given us some great things to write about, Carrie. And I took Terry's quote right there as suppressing the vote, what was it? It's suppressing everyone's vote, not just Republicans' vote. I mean, not just Democrat vote.
Republicans and Democrats, it's suppressing everybody's vote.
And can't you just see that as several really nice truth sandwich posts? The other thing that's going on in our neck of the woods, which is a very interesting thing, we've talked about this on our calls, that we really need to be focused on the county board elections. In this neck of the woods, we have a major effort to install a lot of solar arrays. Now, my first instinct would be to say, hallelujah, we need those major solar arrays. But what we're learning is that this is a very complicated issue, because the farmers at this point have so much, of course, it's their farmland and they would be leasing it out to the solar companies, but they may be leasing out some of the most premier farming land in the Midwest. And there are some very progressive people who feel that there needs to be an overarching plan of what type of land will be used for these solar arrays, instead of just letting it go, okay, now we're going to have a solar array over here, and we're going to have a solar array over there, and we're going to have a solar array over there. The county, some people on the county board are feeling that there needs to be some type of overarching plan and a little bit more control over these solar companies who are coming in and just cutting the deals with the individual farmers. So that has been a really strong reminder that of two things. One, that issues are not always as simple as they seem at the outset. And two, those county board positions are incredibly powerful. And in the future, they are going to have an enormous amount of control over environmental issues and environmental choices. And if we don't get good thinking, progressive people on those county boards, we're going to lose the environmental fight in Illinois, because that's where the decisions are going to be made. They're not going to, many of them are not going to be made on the national level, not going to be made on the state level. They're going to be made on the county level. And we've got to get those people on the county boards in order to make really good, solid decisions. Terry.
I just want to say, several weeks ago was after the general election, Marcy was talking about how, being nerdy as she is, she was looking at all the races on all the ballots for all the townships, and the whole thing that was all in the paper, and how many of them had nobody running. It would be worthwhile anywhere to try and find, what the ballots were. You just look in the newspaper. I think the newspapers are required to print, sample ballots for every race, and find out which offices had nobody running, and just get somebody to run for them, even if it's not the county board, even if it's, the town dog catcher, and I guess the thing to do is, get your, put in your papers to run for that office on the very last day, so nobody knows you're going to do it, and you'll be the only one there. You get an office. Now you've got a platform, even if it's a tiny one, which will help you step up to the next one. And there's no time like the present, when nothing else is going on, to do that little bit of research.
I think, unfortunately, by the time it's in the paper, that's too late, because you have to have, if you're going to run as a write-in candidate, which often you only need 10 or 12 write-ins, and you can do that, but you've got to register ahead. to be
Yeah,
a
what I'm
voter.
saying is, see what offices were had nobody running in this past election,
Uh-huh.
because the chances are there might be nobody running the next time either.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Check
look at
check
what,
the ones from the 2021
Yeah.
election and see
Yes.
if the same thing happened. Marcy has her hand up. Yeah.
yes,
Anyway, I mean, that is a good idea, except that here's the kicker. Most like for the locals, those things come out, especially when you're talking about the townships, they only are every 4 years. All of the townships in Illinois are up at the same exact every 4-year era point as everybody else, and those are actually some of the races. Although, I mean, there were there were mayorals that didn't even have someone, but they had write-ins. So, but I'm wondering if the reason that people find out that they can that people decide they're going to be write-in and is because they find out that nobody else is running. And I wonder if you could just go to the county clerk's website at some certain time and look to see if anyone's running for whatever office it is, and then put your name in as a write-in at some point. I wonder if that is, especially like, okay, for the 2023 locals, there will be different things up. Now, where we are, we had actually, like in Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy, in those areas, we had pretty robust competition in 2019 for those things. But I didn't really look. I was not thinking about the about the other areas around us, about the little dinky towns and whatever. And so maybe they didn't have as robust amount of people running as inside Chambana. So, maybe, it would be more like, their city council, their town councils, half of them would be up and half of them are not, or whatever. So in Champaign-Urbana, how they do it is, on the, this one that's coming up, the ones that the at-large positions for Champaign and Urbana city councils will be up in 2023, but the district ones will be up in 2025, things like that. So I don't know how the little towns do it, but for theirs, but we probably could look and see. And
one thing I'm wondering, Marcy, is if and Bill, here we have a person who's just been run for township. I'm wondering if each county clerk posts that information on their own timeline. I don't know if statewide, Rose, do you have any idea if statewide the county clerks have to post the ballots by a certain date, put them on their websites? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I can make a guess that it's probably not consistent.
Right.
Across
I'm
the
guessing
board.
it's not. I'm guessing it's not consistent too. That each county. Bill, do you have any idea?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know there's state rules, state laws that govern, but they're not always set in stone. There's certain things like that have to be done, but then there's these other things that it's up to the discretion of the county clerk.
Right. And
So
I'm guessing that when you post your proposed or the ballot, that could be different. So we can't set ourselves a date and say, okay, such and such a date in 2023, everybody go check and see what positions are open and scramble and find somebody to run for them, which would be a great thing to do. But we have to keep it in our minds to make sure that we're checking. Yeah.
yeah, you'll want to check so I think our primaries here in Quincy, in Adams County West, this part were in I want to say February.
Okay. Yeah.
And the beginning of, I think it was the beginning of February is when the primaries were
Yeah.
And since nobody was running against me in the Democratic primary, I wasn't even on the ballot.
Yeah, you weren't.
They-
Yeah, it wasn't that important to you because you were on. I think the main point here is we're talking about, oh my gosh, how would we fill these positions where there's nobody running? The better thing to do, of course, for all of us, is to make sure that we have people on the ballot, up and down the ballot, up and down the state. And that's what we need to be working on now, is really getting out there and finding those people who are willing to put their names out and say, yes, I'll run for county board. Yes, I'll run for, I'll run for, well, the one that I'm focused on is county board. And then make sure you give them the support that they need. Tell them that you'll help them get their signatures. Tell them that you'll put their sign up or whatever. So great. So that was up and down the state meeting. That was great. We had a lot of different things going on today, and yeah, so we didn't get to hear from Quincy much today, but we'll catch you another day and find out what's going on in Quincy. So we're a little over time, and I like to hold us to the time. But I want to thank everyone for being here with us. And especially I have to thank Jessica, because I really put her on the spot tonight. I saw that those pictures were coming up, and I couldn't resist getting you to tell us a little bit about your event. So I'm sorry that I put you on the spot, but thank you for jumping in and doing that.
You're good. Thank you.
Okay. All
It
right.
was good. Appreciate it, y'all. Thank you.
All right. And thank you
One
so much.
more thing.
Yes.
There's still.
Oh, the
there's still
phone
gonna
bank,
be a
phone bank. Yes.
Phone bank is still going to be on Saturday from 4 to 5:30. At this point, we are still doing the fight for $15 an hour, and we're calling Rodney Davis's district L13, mine and Terry's district. But we're hoping, like in a few weeks, that we can change it to HR4. But right now, we still need phone bankers, and the only ones who have been showing up are me and Sarah and Rosie. So,
yeah, so if we could get a little help, that would be great.
Yes, I put a link.
Really, guys, it's not painful. I don't like to phone bank, but this one is not painful.
People
you get some
wanna
really
call.
great conversations.
Yeah,
I'll testify. And
Yeah,
I've ditched Marcy because we've had 2 family events too. So it's really been you and Rosie. So.
Well, and actually on the 22nd, you're gonna run it, because I will
You'll be in Florida.
I won't be there. So anyway,
all right.
Okay, but
I'm gonna say good night to everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in and helping us with the call tonight. Take good care.
Night, y'all.
Good
Thank you.
night.